We've got something a bit special for you today. We've got a Scirocco GTS diesel. These come with the 2-litre, 177 horsepower common rail diesel engine. They're kind of like a diesel Scirocco R. Let's see what we can do with it. First things first, let's pop the bonnet, give it a health check. Our under bonnet checks on these, generally speaking, I'm looking for boost leaks, signs of boost leaks. I'm going to check the oil level, I'm going to check the coolant's not contaminated, I'm going to make sure that everything's all plugged in and working and there's no signs that it's previously had an EGR delete or anything like that. We're going to look and see if it seems like the DPF's been tampered with, just generally give everything a good look over. Now that we've checked under the bonnet and done our basic health checks, we can do a fault code scan. We will scan every single module on this vehicle and find out if there's anything that we need to be worried about before we tune it. Booyaka shop. A lot of people don't understand what we do and what data logging is. Hopefully this will show you just quite how much data we can actually achieve out on the road when we're logging these. This is what we call the live screen. In the background there's 33 objects being recorded, but we're just looking at these live datas for now. That will give us a good idea, and this is enough to see out on the road initially how the car's performing. So we've got engine speed, throttle position, calculated torque, inlet air temperatures, injection quantity, boost pressure set point, actual boost pressure, wastegate duty, EGR position, injection timing, and differential pressure at the particulate filter. In the background, there's a lot more detailed information being stored. But for this, when we're going out and initially data logging, this is what I want to see as a snapshot of, is the car that I'm working on any good or not? What do we do when we go out data logging? This will be something that's quite new to a lot of people because the way that we tune on the road is, I think, quite unique in this day and age. Normally what we would do is we would have customer in the car with the laptop on their lap. We would have me in the driver's seat doing the driving side of things and getting the data that I want. We'd talk the customer through the data that they're going to be seeing and we'd tell them how to record the data. Immediately, I can pick up on the normal areas that we see on these common rail diesels. They're a little bit flat low down, and the way that the boost builds in, I think is quite slow. One of the areas that I really like to focus on when we're tuning any vehicle is getting the part throttle driving right and the sort of driving that you're going to do on a daily basis. After you've had your car tuned, in 6-8 weeks time, it's going to feel normal again. So we need to make sure that these part throttle driving situations are perfect. Generally speaking, when we do our test drives, we will do the same route over and over again. The reason for that is I like to have repeatable results on the same road so that we can compare apples with apples. Now what we're going to do, as we come off this roundabout, I'm going to tap the space bar on my laptop. That starts the data recording, and now I'm going to go foot flat to the floor. And we'll stop there. Push the space bar again, push the enter button on my laptop, and that's now stored that data log so that when we get back, we can analyze it. Data logs. For me, data logs are the reason why you should come to us. Because the way that we understand these data logs and the way that we talk through them, the way that we can work out exactly what's happening with the car is, I think, second to none. What we want to look at first of all is how healthy the turbo is. So we can see this bluey-green line here is boost pressure and the red line is requested boost pressure. PID is a really important thing. It is how a closed loop system manages itself. So it's saying, this is where you are, this is where you want to be, get going. But what it doesn't want to do is get going to the point that it overshoots and then has to correct itself. So what happens is as the set point gets met, it slows itself down to create this nice curve. Then it's got to hold that boost pressure. And you can see here it's under, then it's over, then it's under, then it's over, and then it's under. That's because the boost control as standard on one of these isn't the best. Next up is wastegate duty, so how hard the turbo's having to work to provide that boost pressure. Fuel pressure, that's the next thing, request versus actual. Next up is the lambda reading, so this is the air-fuel ratio of what's coming out of the engine, so what the exhaust gases are like. Fuel injection quantity, so how much fuel's being put into it. And if we overlay that with the calculated engine torque, you can see they take on fairly similar curves. We want to look at the inlet temperatures and make sure it's not getting too hot, and that is absolutely perfect, barely 15 degrees, which is awesome. Exhaust gas temperature, we saw 680 degrees at the end of that pull, and if we just stretch this graph out now, you can see it dropped away then. So yeah, long and short of it is, that's how we would interpret a data log and what we would look at to work out how healthy a car is and to define what we can do when it comes to tuning it. On this particular car, I've done a couple of thousand 2-litre TDIs. The aim with this one is just to tidy up the common issues that we get with these cars. So the poor throttle response, the poor initial pull away, and just generally get it running as it should have left the factory. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flash in something off of our database, and then we're going to go out and drive it, see how it responds, and see if that's a good fit for the hardware on the car, but most importantly, if that's a good fit for what the customer wants. If that file's found its way to our database, that's because we've tried, tested, and developed it. I do post quite a lot about the fact that we regularly reuse tunes, and it's not necessarily something to be ashamed of. Saying that you custom tune every single car just makes you a liar. No one does that. And that's how I feel about it. That's flashed now, which means it's time for a test drive. Possibly with the least enthusiastic man you've ever met in your life.
It's definitely a diesel, isn't it? Like now, you would not know it was a diesel.
So humour me. But it's
no, it does feel nice. It feels loads better at the bottom end there. The power as it feeds in don't feel as you know,
delayed.
There you go. There's a dollop of power at 2,000 revs. I am impressed. Yeah. That's good. That.
And there we have it. 177 horsepower Scirocco GTS Northeast tuned.